Okay, we are back. And before we hop into our next topic here, I want to tell you about something that happened earlier that I thought was funny. Because we were talking about fears, like working through those at the same time as opening up to your channeling abilities. And sometimes that's why things aren't open all the way because you still have these like fear matrices inside. So I had my drink next to me a minute ago and I put a ton of ice in it and I put a lot of water in there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the ice shifted, but I didn't hear the ice shift. And my straw went all the way up and then came all the way back down. And my initial thought, and listen, I work with entities and beings and all these things every single day. Okay. When that happened, I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's a ghost. And I was like, not today. And I like moved my glass. Okay. Now I will say, let me fix our camera. I will say I have worked with ghosts and all and like literally any being that you can think of, I have worked with them. And that startled me and my central nervous system and my fight or flight. And I was like, not in my house, not today. Okay. But like even if it was a being, it's fine. It's okay. But my body still has like feral reactions to things, right? Like if it's in the middle of the night and I hear something in my apartment, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, the ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Consciously, like I know they're not going to be able to do anything, like even if they are ghosts or beings or whatever. so, so I am still defragmenting these things, right? And I'm sure that once I work through a lot more of them, I'll have access to a lot more things. But also at the same time, I can't force my inner children or my teens to heal faster than they need to because I used to see spirits and stuff when I was a kid and I shut down a lot of my gifts because it was scary. So like I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Okay, I want to see every single being and entity and all this stuff outside of me because that would freak my inner children out." Like we
Yeah.
need to do it gradually.
Well, nothing, what we have to remember, and in those moments you forget this, but what we have
Yeah.
to remember is that absolutely nothing is allowed to enter your space, to enter your energy, to harm you or scare you without your permission.
Yes,
So
and
the
I'm going to
so
do a bunch of videos about that as
yeah.
well. Okay.
So I would imagine that the reason something scarier could happen or in a startling way. Okay, okay, if things move, it's to get your attention, first of all.
hmm
Now, if your central nervous system is already like fried or you're feeling vulnerable or whatever, I could see like a negative entity trying to scare you to keep you into that state so that maybe it could, I don't know. Like I don't give that a lot of
Yeah,
credit,
they
right?
can't.
Yeah.
Since we're saying that, since we're on the topic, okay, I know we weren't going to talk about all this stuff
Yeah.
in this video at least. It is not the actual being or the
Yeah.
hex or the curse. It is or any type of anything that is outside of you. That is not actually what can harm you. It cannot even touch you or do anything to you,
Yeah.
period, point blank. What does harm you is your fear.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
self-induced fear or fear based out of trauma or programming. You start to feed on your own energy and
Yeah.
negativity eats your energy and you create this self-imposed vortex around you, but it's never the entity. It's never any type of energy being. It's never a hex. It's never a curse. Those things cannot have any power over you unless you allow them, kind of like an
Yeah.
energy vampire. Like if you say no and you hold boundaries with them, they can't harm you.
If you go to enter into a house or a location or something that is creepy already by design and it feels like a no, pay attention to that because it's just a dark place where negative things are hanging out. You don't, it's a no.
Yeah.
But
And I'm not saying negative
other
entities
than
aren't
that, yeah.
real.
Yeah.
They like there's a lot of evil, nasty things out in the cosmos and in the world, right? But if
Well,
you go ahead.
they live in the 4D and the 5D. And so we're stepping into that. So we are going to brush up
To start
against,
feeling and
yeah.
experiencing it. Yeah, but it's not the actual being that can do anything to you. It's not the actual hex. It's not the curse. Or psychic attacks. Okay, it is your fear that is
Yeah.
making you sick, or it's making you have intrusive thoughts, or it's making you go into fight or flight. It's making you have catastrophizing. It's all in your mind.
Yeah.
They
And those
can't
things,
actually do anything to you. I've been around many negative entities, okay, throughout my journeys, throughout my travels, and I have never, not one time, ever been harmed by anything because I have that understanding of y'all can't do anything to me.
yeah, you
Y'all are etheric
don't
beings.
give
You're
your
not a
power
physical
away.
being. You're not a physical
Yeah.
being. You cannot do anything to me.
And just keep remembering, I will not give my power away.
Yeah, you just say
So
absolutely not. But
it's
I will be talking about how to keep protective measures in
yeah,
upcoming videos, okay, to help you in your journeys and your travels because those are beneficial.
yeah. Well, and we're about to talk about downloads and activations and things. Nothing negative is going to come through for any of that because you are when you're requesting downloads or you're receiving information, that's to help you.
Oh yeah, downloads are only of the light.
Yeah,
They're like
they're designed to help
anything
you.
else is your ego or programming or trauma.
Yeah.
Like downloads are only positive, like your higher self.
And just remember the Bible describes angels as having what, like 100 eyeballs and
Hmm.
cra- some crazy looking
Hmm.
shit. So like you might see something, but
I have seen some beings and some entities in my cosmic travels that would shock people, and they are the nicest beings ever.
yeah,
They are so sweet.
yeah.
But you have to work through that fear to be able to even perceive, like that's a lot of times we, if something's different from us, we have a deep internal fear of like the unknown and like what could it potentially do to me, but what could you learn from it?
I finally saw some like it just in the last few months, and I think it was in January. I actually saw something in the 3D, and I've been waiting for that. And
Yes.
it wasn't scary at all. It startled me because I
Oh, are you
wasn't
talking about the
expecting
thing
it.
in your loft that ran across the
Yeah, I
room?
mean, I can describe it. It was really cool though. Have a feeling it was well, we always try to make sense out of it. So I was like, oh, maybe it's a bird that I was really attached to that I have still yet to figure out what happened to her. So that was like the first thing that came to my mind. But honestly, I don't know. I was moving furniture. I heard like a minute before I heard a cord fall off a shelf and I looked to see it fall, right? So like a minute later, I hear the same sound that directs me to the same location. My brain thinks, "Oh, it's the cord," which wouldn't make any sense now because it's already fallen, right? But I'm like, "Oh," because my attention's drawn right back to where the cord fell. So I look, and there was a really low shelf because it's shelves against my wall, a very low shelf, like this far off the ground. I see a dark object that's about this big, literally hop off, run across my floor, and go under my couch. And I realize as it's happening, two things. I'm physically moving and tracking it. So I'm clearly seeing something, right? It's not like I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I actually like followed it. Also that I could see through it. And it was just this little thing that was scurrying.
Like a shadow,
That
like almost like a shadow being, not a shadow being,
yeah,
but like
that had a
a,
shape.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
the essence of a being, if you
Yeah.
will, like its aura.
And I was probably holding something because I'm moving furniture and I was like, and I was like, I just saw something, but it didn't scare me. It didn't make me think that it was demonic. Nothing. It was, I actually kind of just went back to what I was doing because it was over. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I think it's really cool that I saw that because I've been asking for that. Um, but at the same time, you'll know how you feel when you actually experience something. Now, if, Bigfoot walked into my house, I would be
You might be a
there'd
little
be
more.
there'd be some
Yeah.
mixed emotions. Like I've been
Yeah.
asking for that, but like,
Yes.
um, I'd rather see them from a distance out of the corner of my eye a few times first to get used to that.
Hmm.
But if things start, if because you're working on this and you're asking for things and they start coming in because you are a god and because you are protected and because you are secure in who you are and you have made sure that the only things that are welcome in your space are things that have your highest good in their intention. If you see something, it's not going to be scary. It's going to be like, oh, we're there now. And that's every time I get a new gift, I'm like, oh, we're there now. Oh, okay. Now that kicked in, and like, I would love to see more little things scurrying. Like, how fun would that be? Because it showed me the first time that this is starting to come in, and it's going to be in a way that it is almost designed for my entertainment.
Yes.
You know,
They'll
so
start appearing as like shadows. And if
yeah.
you are freaking out when you see these shadows, that means you are not ready
Hmm.
to see things. Like maybe you need to be working up here in your imagination in the ethers first, in your clairvoyance internally. So that way you don't block yourself up. Because if you're out here seeing all this stuff out here and you're freaking out and it's scaring your central nervous going into fight or flight and all that, it's a lot safer to start with up here
Yeah, and
because then
watch.
it's not as much physicality to it, right? It's like, oh, it's ethereal, it can't like do anything to me, right? Like the physical being
Yeah,
can't either. Okay.
yeah,
Like, but it's one thing to see things in your mind's eye and it's another thing to see shadows all over your room.
things
My
move.
son,
Yeah,
yeah, my son was perceiving shadow beings in our home space, and I told him, I was like, you just tell them to go away. Like if you don't want to see them, say, I don't want to see you. You are not allowed in my space. And I told them they can't do anything to you. They're just chilling. They're just part of the home space, right? But you just say, I'm not ready for that. I don't want to see you. And
you're
that's
just
okay
on a
too.
you're on a higher vibration. Those things have always been here, always.
They're all around. All the
They're
spirits
all
are
around.
here.
Yeah,
Okay. It's
you're
just
just
your perceiving ability.
as you raise your vibration and your frequency, they're probably just as surprised that you can see them as you are. You know,
I had a ghost, if you will, which that's we don't have to get into all that, but we had a ghost in my apartment one day and I turned around and I could see it behind me and it was shocked that I could see it. I was like, I can see you just fine. I was
yeah,
like, what are you doing? It was a little boy. I was like, what are you doing? But it was like, oh, you can see me? And I was like, yeah. And I felt you standing this close to me. Can you back up a little bit?
yeah,
But yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's fascinating. I know we got off topic, but it
We
was fun.
did. We did.
It was
We're
fun.
gonna swing back around here for a second. Okay.
So now,
We
when you're starting to get downloads and activations,
yeah,
yeah,
it's okay. So we're gonna talk about like how to receive more downloads and intuitive insights and kind of what that feels like, which we talked about a little bit of like, hey, these are always going to be positive messages trying to
yeah.
get you on your most aligned timeline. It's never going to be something that's chastising you or making you feel, if anything makes you feel shameful or guilty or bad about yourself, that is not a download. That is not intuitive insight. That is not your higher self.
And it's not welcome.
Oh,
And
right.
he
We know
did
that
say
is
that.
the other. That is the programming, that is trauma.
Yeah.
Those are things that your parents have said to you or your caretakers, that stuff that you've heard on social media. That has nothing to do with channeling. That is other stuff.
Yeah, and you can even say like, "Hey, I'm calling in my cheerleading team. Like I'm calling in my hype team. Like somebody come in and help me feel better about this and show me the other side of it that doesn't make me feel bad about myself or scared or
Oh, and
whatever."
that's a beautiful thing about spirit guides. Like if you, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a different video, but when I felt like I couldn't hear my spirit guides, and this kind of goes into downloads and insights as well. So I'll just talk about it for a second. So, I could not differentiate between who my spirit guides were because I didn't know their names. I didn't know what they look like. And I was like, I just want to hear what they're saying. And I couldn't figure it out because I was newer to channeling. So I said, you know what? Instead of trying to figure that out, I am just going to ask different spirit guides to be on my team. Like I'm going to do some research and choose who I want to be on there. Like obviously ask them, right? And so I
Mhm.
picked Archangel Michael and Kali and Ganesh and Joan of Arc and like Mary Magdalene and like a couple other people. And that really helped me be able to hear them more clearly, like just guides in general, because there's so much information about them in the collective consciousness. So I would do meditations with them on YouTube. I would read articles about them. I would sit in meditation and speak with them or do automatic writing and journaling and ask them questions like how, what, and why questions. And when I did that, it helped me. One, they were able to help me with different things in my life and give me different perspectives and understandings and downloads. Right. But then it helped me fine tune my clairaudient abilities to be able to hear the guides that I didn't know what their names were or what they looked like, because now I was able to connect with these ethereal beings in a more tangible way.
Um yeah. if you have trouble believing that this could actually happen for you, like that would be the first layer.
Yes.
Get rid of that because you're a magical being and you can you can
That's how we
you will
block ourselves up.
you you are capable. You receive downloads on a regular basis. Okay. Um, remove that. Call in assistance. Find some people who do guided meditation on YouTube. Scroll through a few, listen to a few, make sure you like the voice, make sure you like the pace that they're at, make sure you feel like the music that they're playing is like whatever. Pick your people. Maybe pick 3 or under and start listening to them. Now, if you're not in the mood to totally calm down and get in the zone or whatever, like if there's a little panic before that or a little like resistance to it, okay, put it on in the background. Go do some dishes. I listen to full blown activations when I'm on dog walks because I am a person who needs to move around a lot. I'm an active person.
Mhm.
I have a nervous energy to me. It works for me. Now, if I'm of course if I'm sitting down and I'm in the flow state and I'm relaxed or whatever, I'm going to feel it way more intensely, right? But if you need to start listening to activations or down or whatever it is, right? Connecting to my higher self, whatever it is that you're scrolling through and it grabs your attention. You can listen to those a few times before you put yourself into the state to actually do the more work.
Oh yeah, because most people fall asleep too. Like if
Yeah.
you listen to a guided
Oh,
meditation
dude.
while you're awake for 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
you're going to be and while you're active, you're going to be much more likely to stay awake when you go to sit down and listen to it.
Yeah, I get especially in the beginning, I was very resistant to quieting everything down and just being present
Yeah.
because um not that I'm incapable, but it felt like anti how I normally operate, right?
Yeah, because you're always go, 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 go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't think you are not capable of this. So Sage sent me the best um guided meditation through it was the EDM one. Um
Oh, from Ellis Dream?
Yeah, LS.
Yes.
It's super intense. The girl's voice is like really powerful. The music's fantastic. Dude, if you have trouble getting in and like um you want something to almost forcefully get you there, ask for this. It is beautiful. It's really cool. It's really fun, but it's intense, not like heavy metal music, but it's just like
Oh, sometimes you need somebody with very intense
yeah,
energy to get you there, like the softy stuff, which is great. We love that
yeah,
too. Sometimes you need somebody that's going to be like a lot of energy
yeah.
towards you. Like, have you ever watched Steve Noble?
Mm-mm.
His YouTubes? He's this channeler and his energy is so intense. Like I don't usually listen to it unless I am laying down because it
Yeah.
will immediately put me in a space like that. Like sometimes you do
The
need that.
the Galactic Languages video that you sent me,
Yeah.
I woke up on a Sunday well rested and I found it and I'm like, "Oh, I haven't listened to this yet." Within an hour of being awake, I put it on and it knocked me out for an hour and a half. And I kept waking up and like realizing and seeing it was on and like kind of had that sensation of when you're when you wake up in the morning but you're not ready to fully awake and you keep falling back asleep. And then when I finally like zapped out of it, I realized an hour and a half had gone by and her videos had just gone to the next video.
Oh
So
yeah.
here my brain was thinking I'm still on the same 20-minute video. No, I was yeah, and but that was full blown download activation where it was so like this is going to happen today that my higher self was like avatar step aside like
Yeah. Like
go to
you just
go to sleep,
like
y'all gonna learn today and we just move out of the way, we don't need your wondering what's happening, like just go to bed. So when you get to a level where something like that happens, it's fine, like just let it happen. But a normal if you want to get used to what it feels like to get a download or whatever, start listening to some of the guided activations. And like when people do light language and they talk through it or whatever. Ash Tara is fantastic at it. Um, Tyel is fantastic at it. Like if you still feel like it doesn't work for me, I'm never aware of it when it happens, whatever. Trust me, it's happening. You just have to find the way for you to actually perceive it. And the moment you actually are like, "Oh, that's what it feels like," there you go. That's your step into it. You'll never question it again. And it'll come in. It'll come in.
I was telling somebody yesterday that there was a time where I felt that I was very stagnant with my gifts. Like I had already been doing it for a while, but I was like, well, I really want to grow and evolve. Like I don't like anyway. Okay. So I was feeling stuck. And for 3 months, the only things that I listen to, I stop, and I'm not saying to do this necessarily. Okay, this is me because I'm the type of person that will just go 1,000,000% on something when you that's not healthy. But okay, the only thing that I listened to for 3 months straight was light language activations, Reiki sessions. I would listen to other channelers talk about channeling. I would watch their channeling sessions. I would listen to people talk about chakras, anything that had to do in the spiritual activation realm, or listening to DNA upgrades, listening to guided meditations, even though I'm fully awake and walking around. And it exponentially opened my channels because, like Kimberly was saying, one, you need to find people you resonate with. I will listen to a lot of channelers who I do not, and it doesn't mean anything about them and it doesn't mean anything about
Yes,
me.
no.
Y'all have different
Vibration.
energetics,
Yeah.
you have different understandings, you have different frequencies. If and there have been times where I have not listened to somebody and then a year goes by and I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this is perfect for me now." Okay, so you got
Hmm.
to listen to don't listen to something that doesn't feel good in your body. It
Don't
don't
force it.
self-judge yourself either and be like, "Oh, well, I'm projecting and all." No, you just have different frequencies and like that's totally okay. Just find something that feels good in your body. So I just listened, put my earpods in, constantly to activations for 3 months, and it helped blast open my channels. It really
And,
did because
and
you're imbuing yourself with so many different frequencies and so many different
yeah.
dimensions and so many different ways of doing things and different levels of understandings. It really helped me get over that hump, and it upgraded and fine-tuned my abilities.
And
All
let your
right there.
body, let your higher selves do what they're good at. You don't even have to be part of the process in the beginning. Like if you are like, I'm just going to give it to my multidimensional self
Mhm.
and I'm going to put this on. I have no expectations. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to wash the dishes. That's totally okay. Every night when I first got on TikTok, like I fought TikTok for a while and I finally like people had sent me enough funny animal videos where I was like, all right, I'll download this. Um, when I finally tapped in, what I liked about having my brand new TikTok account years ago was I was completely in control of what I was going to see in my feed.
Mhm.
So only the people like when you go to the not the for you but the subscribe, I don't remember what it's called.
Mhm.
If you only have like start a new TikTok account for this.
Or a
Like make
YouTube or like a YouTube account.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and just start a new one and the only thing you follow are people are Ashtara or Intael and like people doing like the people
Or
that you resonate
practitioners,
with. Yeah,
healers that you
that
like.
that
Yeah.
you like, right? And then just have a playlist. Play it when you're asleep, whatever. Um,
Oh, I
it,
used to
it
do that. I would make a
yeah,
playlist of activations and
yep,
Reiki sessions and channelings and all these things, and I would just listen to it while I
yeah.
was asleep.
I would wake up, I would have it ready, and when I woke up in the middle of the night, I would just hit play. There is a woman. Her account is, I want to say it's Tip of the Moon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tip of the moon.
I, dude, her,
The Reiki
yeah,
practitioner.
the
Yeah,
Reiki. I love
she's real
her.
chill.
Yeah, she is
Yeah.
so great. She's so perfect to fall asleep to, or she's great if you wake up in the middle of the night and just hit her playlist and
Yeah.
put it on low. She's wonderful. I know that I upgraded so much. So I found her at the beginning of this. The first thing I found was Reiki. I realized I'd heard the word Reiki for a very long time, but never really like fully understood what Reiki meant. So I started watching these videos and I could feel it right away. They,
Hmm.
they were 1 minute, 2 minute videos, right? But so every night, it was like I felt like started to look forward to it for about 30 minutes. I would just go through my feed And like once a video popped up that I was like, oh, I like that one, and I would just watch it maybe for a minute or two, I would feel something. I was tuning my body to receiving energy.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
was, and then it led to the next thing and the next thing, and then eventually it led to light language.
Yeah,
And
if you're imbuing yourself with Reiki or light language or Akashic records or channeling,
yeah,
like you're going to naturally become a vibrational match. Your channels are going to open up to it.
yeah. So one person that is definitely on the quieter, more mellow, gentle side is Melanie Beckler. I would highly recommend her.
Yes, I put her in the channeling resources
Yeah.
of like there's a channeling resources in the
Yeah.
course where I put a ton of different practitioners and channelers for everybody to go and see the
Yeah.
people that I listen to or that I've recommended to like clients and things. Melanie Beckler is one
Yeah.
of them. She's amazing. She's real soft and chill and has a lot of
Yeah.
information about angels.
Yeah. And we're we're not trying to give you a bunch of homework on top of taking these courses. We're saying utilize your free time. You know what we're telling you to do? Look for the magic.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. How much time and energy, like if you want to like if you really want to open yourself up to magic and open yourself up to your own multidimensionality, how much time and energy are you willing to invest in self? Like that 3 month period, I was like, okay, I really want to get to the next level. I'm going to focus on this.
Yeah.
This is
If
what
you
I'm going to do.
if you want an intensely, book a session with me and I will I'm not here to do that.
You're
But like within an hour we're going to move through some
yeah,
stuff,
Kimberly
right?
will help you feel a lot of things. Yeah.
Or book a session with Case Parks, Everyday Masters. Book a session with Tyel. You don't have to though, because you are fully capable of doing this
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this. Your guides would not have had you sign up for this course if you were not capable of everything that we do and like 1,000 more things above it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need to accelerate yourself and you're just tired of it and you're like, I want to feel it because once I feel it, I'll feel more confident doing all this other stuff, hit us up. But
Yeah, book a session or do like we're talking about with commit yourself to
yeah.
imbuing your energy field with more of this. Or like I will consistently watch magical things and read magical books. And there's a huge payoff. Like I live a very magical life because that is my universal algorithm. That is what I have chosen to walk that path, but I have to intentionally do that. And when it's fun, it's not like I'm forcing myself to do it. Like it's amazing and fun. But the more that I not spend, the more that I invest time and energy in finding magic, the more magic finds me. So if you say, I'm going to put down maybe these other things that I'm focusing on that aren't serving me in life, right? Which that's fine if you're listening to podcasts or comedy specials and all these different things. I'm not saying don't watch our music. But if you pivot your attention and energy and really focus on this, it will have a payoff.
Yes. Replace the habits that you know aren't serving you. If you have a tendency to
Yes.
turn on the news when you get home,
Put on some
stop.
Reiki and light language
Yeah.
instead and be like, I'm doing this for
Yeah.
my channeling abilities or my magical abilities.
And you're going to fight that at first because a bunch of fears and survival stuff is going to kick in. Don't just turn the news off. If something is going to affect you personally, there's no way in the world you're not going to be aware of it. Okay. And just remember that if something's going to happen, it doesn't matter if you watch the news, it was going to happen anyway. But that's a whole side thing. But
I
yeah, replace your habits. It's
yeah.
really easy. It's really easy to replace the don't don't call the friend that complains all the time. Don't. It doesn't mean that you can't
And
be
that's the
friends
two.
anymore. Yeah, but don't like call. Think about who in your life makes you feel good every time that you hang out, every time you talk to
Invest
them.
more time in them.
Yeah, those are your people.
Yes. Um dang, I was gonna say something.
Downloads, activations.
Um if you TikTok. Okay, so TikTok was one thing. So I have been on TikTok too much recently and it has been bringing down my vibe and bringing down my frequency and part of that's my own fault because I'm the one that created my algorithm. And instead I noticed that behavioral pattern and I said I'm going to go buy a book instead. I'm going to go buy a magical fantasy book or I'm going to watch anime or something that lifts my vibration and frequency, because that habit is not helping me towards my path, but reading like a magical fantasy book or watching something magical will, right? Second point, people always ask me where I get my videos from, because my videos are not what are on most people's recommended pages. They are things that are high esoteric and just not in the. It's because I have done so many deep dives on YouTube through these processes that we're talking about, of consistently looking up new activations and listening to them and going down this path. My algorithm looks completely different than the majority of people, and I'm able to up level my skills by fine tuning, because the people that I listen to don't have huge followings, because they're on the fringe of spirituality. They're bringing in things that are not as common, and I would assume your algorithm is probably the same. It's
Mhm,
probably like, what is this on here, right?
mhm.
So if you are feeling stuck because you're not able to reach the level of consciousness that you want, it might also be because you're listening to things that are more common and you've outgrown that, but
Mhm.
you have to fine tune your algorithms to get things that you want.
Have the confidence to say, I'm going to start listening to someone that I don't fully understand yet.
Oh yeah, reach up. Even if you
Yeah.
don't understand what they're saying, reach up,
Yeah.
because you will eventually. I have done that so many times, of listening to people that I'm like, I don't know what they're saying or talking about,
Yeah.
whether it's in business or in spirituality. That's how I've
Yeah.
accelerated my business, of like, I don't know what this person's saying, but I know I need to listen to it, and I will figure it out when I listen to it the 10th time.
And one of my um what would be a suggestion, one of the things that I stick to, because I have learned that this really benefits me and I always recommend it to other people. If you find someone that you like, instead of watching their page all the time, type their name in and find out if they've been interviewed by other people. If
Yeah.
if they've been viewed by other people, I'm going to use Graham Hancock as a example. He's one of my it was funny, I heard somebody refer to him as, you're the godfather of like 2 years of my life, and the, and what I and like my ability to comprehend certain things, like your voice is like the reason that I know this, you know. But I I listen to him be interviewed by a multitude of people because I'm going to hear them ask questions. They're going to ask questions all different from one another. His responses are going to be different. And so I'm
Hmm.
going to learn all these other things that I like about him. So that's how I have a crazy thesaurus of information in my head on a huge variety of magic and multidimensional platforms, because I would listen to an interview, I would like the person, they would mention something, and I'd be like, well, what is that? So I that would start a rabbit hole, and we've all done
Those are
this where
called
you.
spiritual breadcrumbs, and your
Yeah,
higher
yeah,
self is trying to lead you down the path.
yeah,
Okay. And you
yeah,
need to listen when they're
yeah.
like, hey, this is interesting.
Make a note. Make a
They're
note.
that's them talking to you,
Yeah,
okay?
make a note. That's me and Tesla, trust me.
Yeah.
And
The
um
person, not the car.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
person. Yeah. And so so yes, do the spiritual breadcrumbs, because when your brain goes, "Wait, what was that?" Like, text yourself, make a note, write it out, like write
Got
it on a
notes
note
app.
in your refrigerator, whatever it is. Start looking it up. That, like, I did that with Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. I went so hard into that and learned so, and then I found all these other creators and all these other people, like it's awesome. That's the form, that's Bashar's formula of following your excitement and following your passion. What if it lights your soul on fire? If you're led to it, go down it. It doesn't,
Hmm.
you don't have to know why, you don't, whatever, but it's going to lead you to so many other things, and it's going to it's going to take you on this path of to enlightenment. No one in this realm like us should ever say they're bored by anything. Like, we say it because,
Yeah.
we're
We have
human.
access to everything
Are
now.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
There is no room for boredom in this realm. Like, if you're a magical being, you're not limited to the 3D world and what's in it. Like your universe has just expanded on so many levels because the moment you grasp something, there's going to be a whole new layer of things that you get to look
Yeah, you're
into.
bored because you don't have new energy coming in or new
Yeah.
knowledge. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So constantly challenge yourself, constantly look for the magic, look for the spiritual breadcrumbs or keywords that pique your interest. You don't even have to understand what they are. It took me a while to understand like the 20 and back and super soldier and all that stuff. Like I delved into that a little bit just because I was fascinated and I wanted to understand it. It's not something that I visit often, but I certainly know a lot about it now because I listen to people that talk about this. Like if it comes into a conversation, I want to be able to comprehend what they're saying. And 2 years in, Sage and I just went to Texas and we met Tony Rodriguez and we were sitting at a table with this incredible woman named Jan and Tony. It was the four of us and we had a phenomenal 2 hour conversation that was like it was so multifaceted and
Yeah,
so
because we all have a
interesting and
big breadth of wisdom and
yeah,
knowledge. Yeah.
it was incredible. And
Yeah.
it's because we've prepared for this. All of us have been on our own journey getting to the point to where we could sit down and have this, like there was no competition, there was no ego, nothing. It was just beautiful, fascinating information and like how you got there and like I don't know. It's really cool. You need to surround yourself with people that enrich you, encourage you and help you grow. And those downloads and activations are going to flood in.
Yes, that was going to be my next point of we need to be asking for downloads and insights when we're doing fun things.
That's when it gets
If it brings you joy to listen to music, because guides talk, your higher self and your inner children and your guides talk to you in different ways. Like sometimes they'll send you signs and synchronicities. Sometimes they're talking to you through music and television and TV shows and all these different things, like different guides for different things. Um, when you're doing fun things, you're more open and receptive and you're more present in your moment. And so you're going to be able to download these things a lot easier. So when you're watching movies, ask for downloads. When you're watching, or when you're reading books, or when you're playing with your kids, like anything that kind of gets you into the flow state, that's the perfect time to ask for downloads. It doesn't have to be you just sitting still in meditation and going om and all this
yeah.
stuff. It can be literally me watching anime and saying like, hey, I would love to receive some downloads while I'm watching this. And then I always get them because I requested them. I set an intention and I'm doing something fun. So I'm more open and receptive to it.
A really good example is when your ear rings, like
Yes.
when you that is a download. Like that is not from I mean there it's not tinnitus. I'm not talking about tinnitus, but when you're just sitting there and all of a sudden like one ear goes off or both and it's really loud, or if you're dabbling in plant medicine, that'll happen a lot too. That is you receiving it. It could be a variety of things, whatever you need at that moment. It could be light codes, it could be a download, it could be whatever. And
Or them telling you to pay attention to your thoughts and be
yeah.
more present.
And when we say download, we're not saying you're sitting there and all of a sudden it's like you receive a message, like a video or something. That's not it at all. Very often it's something that you're like, oh, I'm receiving something. That something is going where it belongs. It's not like a, you know, a telegraph or something. Or I mean, sometimes it can
Sometimes
be.
it is. Sometimes I
Yeah.
get very direct messages and it's like, oh, you should do
Yeah.
this or oh, you should do that. Like
Yeah.
earlier I was talking to Kimberly and I was asking my higher self for some new ideas. And then she was like, oh, why don't you do this? And then I reached out to Kimberly. I was like, oh, what do you think about this? That was a download.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
told me, right? Or it's an
Yes.
insight, or it's you seeing things through different perceptual lenses that you didn't understand or you didn't
Yeah.
see before. It helps you just have like a shift into your next identity or away
I
from something.
I remember in 2020, I decided that we were going to go to Sedona for my son's birthday. And I was on the computer looking at, I wanted to pick one activity. I didn't want to control the whole experience, but I wanted to pick one activity to guarantee that we were going to do something really cool when we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shifting through like, there was a helicopter ride. I thought that would be really fun. There were, there's different tours, whatever. So I'm kind of going back to the different pages. And I had already found this safari tour. It was these Jeep tours. And I found that they take you to the different high energy vortexes. And I really liked that, right? But I was like, this isn't just for me, this is for my son. this is for his birthday. Like, if he was here, would he be like, oh yeah, that's the one I want? No,
Mhm.
but I was like, it's a Jeep, whatever. So I'm looking and I almost went with a helicopter, but then I went back to the visiting the different vortexes, and I was like, you know what? This is a Jeep. He's gonna love that. We're gonna get to see Sedona, all the stuff. When I clicked it, I was flooded with like my whole body just got this like intense vibration and frequency. It was almost like uh when someone comes up behind you and scares you.
Yes.
You have that like, but it wasn't scary, but
It's very exciting and expansive is the feeling. It's like,
I
"Oh,
could
this is what my soul wants."
like full
Yeah.
body, I don't know, like when all the hair on your body stands up.
Yeah.
And I started laughing because I was like, okay, guides, thank you. Like, thank you for the validation. Like, it ended up being phenomenal. Like, when we did it, I was so glad that we did it. The guide was wonderful. He gave us all this extra information. Like, it was such a great choice, but it was really cool to have that full body vibration happen right after I chose it, because I was like, oh, that was validation that I'm following my intuition, I'm following my passion,
Mhm.
and so that is a download. Like, when you actually get that full, but I guess before, what I was saying is, if you're not seeing anything or you're not feeling anything right away, please know that those downloads or those uploads or whatever you want to call them, they are happening.
Oh, they're still happening
They're
in the
going to
background.
where they belong. Once you start to acknowledge that, once you start to get used to, oh, every time my ear rings, I'm getting a download. Maybe the fifth time, you're actually going to perceive what that download is, you know, or like, you can work on the pendulum, and really you only ask yes no questions, which are pretty limiting, but like, while you're working with that pendulum, or while you're just kind of flipping tarot cards to see what they're going to say, when you start getting like full blown messages that are way more expansive than just the picture on the card, or when you're like perceiving the picture on the card, but you go into like a 5-minute explanation to yourself and like a whole journey with it, those are downloads.
Oh, yeah, there when I first started getting downloads, it was, like, barely a whisper of anything. Like,
Yeah.
it was, like, barely even noticeable. I wasn't getting any type of physical reactions. Even when I started listening to Reiki videos, like, at the very beginning of my journey, I didn't feel anything. Nothing. I didn't feel anything in my body, period. But I was like, this is what my soul is telling me to do. So I'm going to keep on. And now I feel it extremely viscerally in my body. Like it's like practicing, right? You're building muscles and you're getting used to what these frequencies feel like. What was the last thing you said? Because I was going to say something after that about the
That,
downloads and the
yeah,
insights and
just
feeling
just
it. I can't remember what I was going to say.
just because you don't feel it immediately doesn't mean it's not going to where it belongs.
Oh, I remember. Okay. Thank you. At the beginning, I was barely getting anything. It was very hard to hear. And now I'm at a point like this whole QEA program, I downloaded everything for that. Like I straight downloaded all that stuff from my higher self. It was stuff that I didn't think that I was ready for or, I had no clarity and direction on. And then I just really sat down and was very intentional, sat with my higher self. And she gave me the whole entire play by play of how to do everything. Anytime I got stuck with it too, she's like, "Oh, this is what you do." Like I can just hear things. And now it was not like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
You have to build those muscles.
Yeah. Yeah, really do. And it is going to feel different for everyone, but
Yeah.
don't like, don't set expectations. Don't think, well, someone like Sage and Kimberly said they felt this. Your experience is probably going to be completely different. You will get full body chills. Your ears will ring. You
I
will
like to
get
equate it of like you thinking like, "Oh my gosh." Like sometimes it's just a thought like that, like, "Oh
yeah,
my god."
yeah, yeah. Especially like when you get this like idea, and then you're like, oh, that's really cool, and then you start like actively looking something up, or you call your friend and you talk about it, or you write it down, you make a note, and then like an hour later you're like, where did that come from? Like,
Mhm.
and why hadn't I thought of that before? Because this is an area that I think about all the time, but all of a sudden you're pushed and motivated to act on it and do something about it. That was from a download.
Mhm. That's also why it's really important to do the things like Kimberly and I were talking about of continuing to be on our healing journey, because when we have a lot of self-limiting beliefs and a lot of programming and a lot of mental chatter and catastrophizing, it's very difficult for those downloads to come in.
Yeah.
We need to be able to sit with self and maybe doing something we enjoy too. I'm not saying that you have to sit in silence to receive downloads, but we have to be able to get to a place where we're having fun and being in enjoyment and feeling a little bit more peaceful and being able to connect in with our bodies and be present with our emotions, because that's when those downloads come in.
And here's something that we all need: permission slips. If you need to designate one day a week to to this, what do we call it?
Oh, no
Not
growth days. No
no
growth
growth days.
days.
Those are
Yes.
really important because you actually grow a ton on that day.
Will you explain what that looks like for you? A no growth day. What does that mean exactly?
I wake up and I'm like, I realize that I have very little that I'd already put on my calendar or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? Today is a day when I just take I don't pay any attention to how long I've been walking with my dog. We come home and I'm like, this is what I feel like eating today. And then I'll tell myself, you can sit on the couch and watch a whole series if you want. It rarely happens. I would love to actually have that fully happen. But I don't I put no pressure on myself. I have no expectations. I go to do something fun. Um, if you're going to go run an errand, let yourself go into the store next to it just to look at stuff. Like, you just zone out and tap out. The same thing that you do when you look at, Instagram or TikTok because you're bored. Just allow yourself to have a free day that doesn't have any um it doesn't have to have any results. You don't have to get anything accomplished. You don't have to have any goals met.
You do not have to be self-aware.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
You
am
can,
not
and
going to have a self-awareness day.
yeah, you don't have to listen to you don't have to do anything for the course. You don't have to listen to any meditation. You don't have to do any of that. Just go and play.
Things that are
Just do
fun.
give your mind it's like a vacation day for your brain, and you will be the next day you'll be ready to do all the stuff again.
I say
It's
I am not going to analyze myself today.
Yeah.
I am not going to analyze everything that I'm saying and the actions that I'm taking and if I'm doing this right and if I'm doing this wrong and we need to learn all these
Yeah.
things. Like, actually, I am just going to be, and
Yeah.
that's enough.
You don't have to make a video that day.
I'm gonna watch Netflix all day.
You don't have to answer your phone that day.
Yeah, I don't
You know?
have to there's a lot of times where I have to completely disconnect from people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're just not getting text back today.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
that's okay. It's totally okay.
Yeah. You
Because
gotta rest and
you
recharge.
gain dude, you gain so much more because you take the emphasis off stuff that wasn't important. If you have to push yourself to do something, like, besides things around your house that absolutely need to
Right,
not
like
be done, because
mandatory things.
yeah,
Right.
because no one else is going to do them.
Yeah.
But if you have to push yourself to do something because you think it's going to help you grow, and you actually have to push yourself and it doesn't feel right, dude, take the day off from it.
Yeah, like if you're sitting here saying like, "Oh, Kimberly and Sage told me that I need to be listening to these
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
to help my gifts." Don't do that, because it's not gonna help you. If something's rooted in not wanting to do it, it's not gonna help you to force yourself to do
Yeah.
it.
You know
You
what?
got to take a break or reset the intention of why you're doing that thing.
And
Forcing is not getting anybody anywhere.
put a note on your calendar for 2 or 3 days from now.
Mhm.
Find a meditation video. Done.
Oh yeah,
In
I'll
three
say we'll do this tomorrow.
Yeah, in 3 days from now, we're gonna go and
Or
find that. And when that comes up, you'd be like, oh, now I'm in the mood.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. You know,
Yeah.
like it because honestly, we have been taught and programmed that anything that's worth doing is hard. Anything that any kind of certificate you're going to get, any
That's some
kind of
deprogramming.
yeah, like, no, anything that you're supposed to be doing is easy and
Super
fun.
easy. Yeah.
It's super fun. Like, you can't wait to talk to that friend on the phone that always raises your vibration. You can't wait to go sit at the beach because you know that feeling the fresh air on your face and smelling the salt and feeling and putting your feet in the earth. Like, you can't wait to do that. That's your thing. That is so simple and easy, and that is like the vibration that you're supposed to be on, and that's when you're going to feel in your body and like happy. That's it. There you go. Totally. There you go. You don't have to do the stuff that you absolutely don't want to do, unless it's pay the rent or something like, obviously the practical thing,
Yeah.
but like you no, the stuff that works, the stuff that is in alignment is effortless. It's free and fun and it's effortless.
Oh yeah, even things in my business that like frustrate me. Relatively though, they're very easy because it's in alignment with me and it's things that like help me, you know, fulfill my passions. So even those things aren't difficult. Like
Yeah.
it's very easy, especially if you're an energy healer. Okay, well, we're all energy healers here. There's no if, but
Yeah.
you're an energy healer. Like all of this stuff is supposed to be fun and chill and easy. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be what everybody makes it of like, oh, this is so difficult. I can't do this and all this stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to like channeling is the easiest thing for me to do. It literally is the easiest thing. I just have to I had to learn how to get out of my own way and stop second guessing myself and comparing myself to other people and all the other stuff. Those are all filter lenses. If you take all that stuff off, channeling's the easiest thing to do.
Mhm.
Literally.
I can go into a trance or flow state so fast that sometimes, like, I'll do it when you and Kiki and I are having a conversation, and
Yes.
you'll be like, oh, she's gone for a second,
Yeah, you'd be
because
like, oh,
because I
like,
know it's a safe space for me to
yeah.
do it. It's fine, but like, um it'll you will get there.
Mhm.
There's no effort in that. It's actually an effort to keep myself from doing it sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, that's the flip side of it.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten there, I have to keep myself from channeling a lot of times. I have to
Yeah.
keep myself from going into
You're like,
that with
this
people.
stranger at the store doesn't need this right now, Like,
Right.
well,
Oh,
because then no, because if you when you drop something that's going to help somebody, you're stuck with them. So you need you need to be like,
you locked in. I
yeah,
have to make sure, like when I'm having conversations with people, like in the
to
3D
look away
realm.
for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 3D realm, like that aren't like on spiritual ascension journeys, I have to really be mindful of the conversations that I'm having and to not necessarily keep them short and brief, but I have to, like you said, just make sure that I'm not flipping over into channeling. Like I have to be more
Yeah.
presently aware of it because I will just be like, blah, 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 blah. And then we're just like sitting here talking to people that aren't going to listen to what we're saying in the first place.
Because their higher selves walk them over to you.
I know. Oh, you know what happened to me the
Yeah.
other day? I stopped by the store and there was nobody in the parking lot. Nobody. And as soon as I parked, 5 different cars showed up. Have you ever had that happen to you? Like you walk into a
Yeah.
room and it's literally just you in there, and then there's like 5 or 6 people that walk in.
Yeah. Yes. That's funny. What I notice is when I'm out walking my dog and I have headphones on, obvious headphones. I'm in my zone. I'm not even making eye contact.
Right. We're
When
just
like when someone really makes an effort to grab my attention,
Mhm.
fully knowing that,
Yes.
and it, like, of course my first is like, why, but then I realize there is something, maybe they just need me to see that, like, I smile at everybody, so maybe they just needed to see that, right? But like, why do you want my attention so badly? You're just out, you know what I mean? You're just out on the street with 1,000 other people. Like, why me?
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
because you have
because,
it's a
yeah,
auric field, it's the energy field.
yeah,
It's your,
yeah.
yeah, they feel it.
So if you want to try this, if you want to understand what we're talking about with, like, really get into other, like, if you want to know what it's like to be around other people with open channels, find a spiritual fair in your town, or a little conference or a little convention or a Zoom group where everyone is very aware, because Sage and I felt like aliens in Texas because everyone
I was in my
was,
true form. I was
oh
in
my,
my true form. Okay.
yeah,
Around so many like people
but
like that. Yeah.
every conversation you have with someone is like full
It was
eye
up here.
contact.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was like to where you have to like actively stop it
And
because
get in
you're
your human.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
like,
there's a human that's still
oh, I have to go check people in. I'll be, like, I can't have this incredibly intensive, like, mind-blowing conversation with you that's
Yeah.
going to alter both of our states, like, yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, you'll be zooming off into the ethers with people and then you
Yeah,
forget time. And then you
for
forget
real.
physics and reality.
Yeah. What was I doing? Like, when
Yeah.
you have those moments when you walk into the room, you're like, why did I walk into this room? We spent days doing that. Like,
Yes. And even with Kimberly and I talking right now, Kimberly and I talked an hour before this chat, and then
Yeah.
we've been on this Zoom together for 2 hours. And
And it doesn't even
so
feel like it.
so
Yeah.
it's just like whatever, because that's what channeling does.
Yeah.
Yes.
It gives it puts you in the one mind area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up though, because we have been for a while here.
Got life
Um,
to do.
Yes, yeah, we take care of our humans. So if anybody has any questions about the things that we were talking about, or you need some expansion on topics, or just wanted to generally comment, feel free to leave them in the text box below here. Okay. And thank you, Kimberly. I love and appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. Very
Yes,
helpful.
thank you. Thank you for
Yes,
inviting me. It's an honor.
absolutely.
And everyone, thank you for paying attention, and you probably listened to this over a few
I'm gonna cut it into 2 parts.
settings. Okay, yeah.
I know we didn't do that last time. I'm gonna do this one.
Yeah. Well, no, we get all the information out. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
thank you for everyone for what you're about to do, because if you're in the you are in this class, you are accelerating, you are um remembering who you are, and you are about to help everyone that has decided to step into the new earth on this path. You are going to be guiding and helping and assisting in ways that you don't even know about yet, so thank you.
Absolutely. Hallelujah to that.
Yeah. And do not remember who you are. Like, everyone has the capacity to do all of this stuff, but everyone is a powerful, beautiful, gifted being, and don't ever doubt that in yourself. Ever, 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 ever. You are magical, you are wonderful, you are beautiful. You have so much to offer. You are so important. You matter so much. Don't ever forget that.
That was beautiful, Kimberly. Thank you for that send off.
You're welcome.
All right. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.